Welcome to Inside the Program on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm your host, as always, Justin Wells. With me, as always, is the managing publisher at Inside Texas, Eric Nalin. Eric, a lot to cover today, so let's just get right to it. First, we need you to like this video and subscribe to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. We're growing at a rapid rate. Come join us. Come have a good time. Then come see us at InsideTexas.com. We're running a promo. IT1 will get you 2 months of InsideTexas.com for only $1. 2 months for only $1. And I can tell you today would be an incredible day to sign up because of what we're going to talk about. Last night, recruiting got a little fun. Recruiting changed a little bit on its end. And number one receiver in the country out of Duncanville, Dakorien Moore, decommitted from LSU. Now, Eric, there's a lot to wrap our heads around on this, but if you were at Inside Texas for the last few months, I think you knew this was coming. I think you saw this was coming. Last night when we got the message it was coming through, what were your first thoughts and what's the next direction with Dakorien?
I would have thought it was happening in June, but, we'll take it. So we weren't surprised, but we were maybe a little bit surprised on the timing, just, later at night, random Thursday. But, yeah, I mean, it's been expected. We were, could have happened a few times throughout the process so far. He committed one back in August, I believe. It was always been a soft commit. I almost put in an RPM for Texas, a couple days after he committed to LSU, just because that's kind of what we felt about that recruitment for a long time. Now it's open and out in the open, and he's back on the market for real, but only within a small margin with the 3 schools. I think Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon. Maybe LSU still under consideration, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and personally, I got to catch up with Marjan Moore, Dakorien's mother, late last night. So much stuff going on, and she was wonderful. Getting her on the phone and getting to kind of catch up with her. She with Dakorien, she told me flat out, he's been thinking about this for a little bit over a month. She said it's been really weighing on him. And I think you made a good point on the board last night. He's going to be able to take these official visits in June now and not feel anchored down. He's not going to feel like he's, disrespecting LSU. But the fact that his mother told me, look, this has been in the works for well over a month, really lines up with your RPM post-April, and then that April 6th visit. I thought when he came to Austin and got to see virtually everybody, I kind of thought that was the clincher of all of it, and then that Texas was going to be in a prime position. But listen, you can't sell Ohio State short. Brian Hartline is going to be coming. It's like blood in the water for those Sharks. Rashad Samples now in Oregon. That's going to be a factor. I don't think it's a done deal with Texas. I think the Horns are the prohibitive favorite, of course. But, Dakorien's he's going to go see these places and talk to these schools. Ultimately, do you see a decision? Do you think there's a timeline of when we might see a decision? Only because, when I spoke to her last night, she said, she'd hope one is sooner rather than later. But I know Dakorien, a lot of this has been weighing on him. Yeah. What do you think you could see from a decision possibly after these official visits in June?
Yeah, I think it'll be July, just like Colin. Colin was middle of July, if memory serves. I think it'll be something similar. Definitely before the season, get it done and out of the way. Everybody's going to keep calling and checking in on him until he signs and is on a campus, and maybe even afterwards, the way the recruiting is these days. But yeah, I think it'll be a summer decision. It's going to be interesting to watch play out. As you mentioned, Rashad Samples, his father's Reginald Samples, the head coach at Duncanville. You could see Oregon. I tipped my cat in Oregon's direction when they made that hire. And then Hartline's got an extensive resume of producing first-round NFL talent. But Texas has a defense against all that as well. They've got an excellent pitch right now, maybe the best pitch in the country for an in-state wide receiver. And so it's gonna be a battle. There's gonna be some tense moments. I don't know that I'm gonna get tense, but there's gonna be a lot of fans getting concerned about it. And it'll be a fun one to watch play out. I think it's gonna go similar to Colin Simmons.
Dakorien said something really interesting to us after that April 6th Saturday scrimmage. He said, we asked him who stood out during that practice, and he said quickly Ryan Wingo. Yeah. And not just his ability, but he was a true freshman making an impact. And to him, that showed him, I could do the same thing. I could come in, play early, potentially catch passes from Arch Manning, in my first year in Austin. And so I thought that really rang true. I thought there was something to that because Sark will give these guys the opportunity to play early. And so it's interesting just because it did happen kind of late on a Thursday night. But man, we all saw this coming. We all knew it was coming.
Justin, how many times did you talk to Dakorien or his mother over the last 2 or 3 months?
Oh, at least a dozen times.
Yeah, and every single time you'd come back and talk to me, and I think both of our confidence was increasing every single time you talked to him, not only in the decommit, but also in Texas's improving position. And I think Texas started off in a good spot, despite his commitment to LSU a year ago, or not quite a year ago. So every time you talk to him, I think confidence was rising, and then I'd talk to people behind the scenes, and I feel pretty good about it too. So, it's this is just the way these things are going. I don't see Sark letting this guy out of his backyard, but there's still plenty of recruiting left to do. They're going to have to make him comfortable with the decision and beat out some good programs.
Dakorien Moore is number one on a lot of big boards, wide receivers. He's also number one with Andre the Lawyer. And there's a reason for that. It's because he's a dog and he gets things done, just like Andre the Lawyer. If you're ever in trouble, you get injured, he's located in the Dallas area. He helps all injured Longhorns of all shapes and sizes. Car wrecks, on-the-job injuries, 18-wheeler accidents. Andre the Lawyer is the guy you need to call to help you out. 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. He is a proud Inside Texas reader, and he wants to help you if you ever get in that position. I know Dakorien would never decommit. I know Andre the Lawyer wasn't going to decommit from us. He's a good one. You had a great story this morning. You posted the virtuous cycle of Sark's recruiting. And what people don't know is how good of a writer you really are. And sometimes you like to break out the SCT stuff. And so kind of tell the viewers a little bit about that article and why they need to come to Inside Texas to really read that.
Well, I mean, with Dakorien's decommitment and kind of my expectations of where the class is going, I woke up with that on my mind. We talked about how when Sark was originally hired at Texas, the beauty of his offense was he could recruit every single position at a high level. We've seen with previous staff is they would have this one emphasis on slot receiver was always good for Herman. He liked his tight ends that would allow him to be multiple. That's how that helped him get Jatavian Sanders, even though Jatavian never played for him. But with Sark, if you look at his track record, he recruits every position well. The wide receivers, the quarterback, the offensive line, tight end, running back. But his scheme all starts with the run game. The run game makes it easier for the quarterback, backs off the safeties, or pulls up the safeties to stop the run game, makes it easier for the wide receivers. You get a guy like Dakorien Moore seeing how Xavier Worthy did. You get a guy like Ryan Wingo, watching Adonai Mitchell throughout the season. All these circles play off, and one thing benefits the other, and then it comes back and benefits the first. Then you back off the safeties, and now the run game is going again because it's a lighter box. So Sark has this thing rolling. We haven't, and the beauty of it is we haven't even seen the offense in full Sark glory yet. We should see that this year. Third year Quinn, most experienced offensive line, talented stable of running backs, amazing group of wide receivers, and a good room of tight ends. So. I think we're just, getting to the beginning of this where, guys are becoming plug and play. Recruits are becoming plug and play. They're getting better recruits every time. If you look at how they struggled to recruit wide receiver in 2021, Texas is a long way from that, right? They missed Evan Stewart. Evan Stewart had the great idea to go play for Jimbo Fisher. Now he's going to Oregon to play for a quarterback that's going to struggle to throw it over 30 yards. When he could have been at Texas the whole time. I think receivers are seeing that this is the offense they want to play in. And I think, by the time this wide receiver class is put to bed, it's going to be the best one in the country.
I'm going to put you on the spot. We've established we feel like the number is 4 at wide receiver takes for the 2025 cycle. You just tilted your head.
I've been saying 4 too, but if you get Jamie French, Dakorien Moore, and whatever third one, do you really need
Malik Lockett?
Yeah, Khalil Lockett, Marcus Harris. I mean, do you need to take 4 if you get those two? Because you've already got Wingo, you've got Jonte Cook, DeAndre Moore with plenty of time. Bond is probably gone after this year, but he's got 2 years of eligibility. Matthew Golden's might be gone after this year. He's got 2 years of eligibility. Then you got a bunch of young guys. Aaron Butler. I thought about him. I was like, I forget about that guy, and then I remember how talented we heard about him this spring. Parker Livingstone. So I'm with you that the number probably is 4 just because Sark is getting so greedy right now. But there's a path to short the numbers there if you get Dakorien Moore and Jamie French, and then just anybody else. I mean, if I could go play wide receiver for him with those two.
If they get 1A and 1B, which is more in French, that's the class. Now they could add one more, and you're looking at guys like an Andrew Marsh and a Kelshawn Johnson and a Khalik Lockett, guys that are also right there in the mix that could probably jump into the class whenever. But now, do you think you see some of those other receivers with some urgency now that they know Moore's back on the market and kind of trending towards Texas?
Yeah, and that's another thing. There's plenty to think about when you have a big move like this with Dakorien's decommitment. I was wondering, is anybody going to jump in? We should probably be on alert just in case somebody does. Yeah. I would, but this goes back to something we've been writing on Inside Texas the last couple of weeks. Is everybody has a different timeline where they're going to be able to commit, because you might have some positions where we know Dakorien has a spot throughout the whole class, but there might be other positions where they like 3 guys for 1 spot, and whoever jumps in first might be the guy that gets it. I'm not saying that happened with Jackson Christian last week, but offensive line is a position where you could see that being the case. Wide receiver is another one, and defensive back as well, where they like a lot of players. They like more guys than they can actually take. So it might be first come, first serve.
And I think June is going to really tell a lot, because that's when Sark really, I think, cooks is official visit month. Yeah. That's when everything gets put on the table, from playing time to early enrollee to NIL. Everything gets discussed in June, and I think that's why we see such a slew of decisions and commitments in July and August. Not just because it's that post OV season, but also a lot of these guys want to grab a spot before the beginning of their senior year. That's kind of the logical way of thinking right now. And so I'm with you. I think Dakorien Moore doesn't go past the summer. I think he gets a spot. I think he grabs it in July or August. What happens with Jamie French is going to shape this too. But I want to tip the cap to Chris Jackson. He took it on the chin a little bit early last year because he wasn't getting like the high-end guys, early on. And it took him a little bit of time to kind of work in and build relationships. And talking to sources within the program, Dakorien Moore was number 1 on that board the day he arrived, and so he kind of knew the end, what they needed at the end of the tunnel. And so I think Jackson deserves some credit when it comes to that, and not just Jackson. Jeff Banks is tremendous in Duncanville. Duncanville's a pipeline. We've established that. Colin Simmons, Alex January, Cam Williams. That thing is flowing like an oil and gas pump in Kilgore, Texas. So that is moving well as well. Any parting thoughts? Because this has been kind of a busy 12 hours. Dakorien Moore decommits. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler gets arrested. We've got a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes at Inside Texas.
My truck got stolen on Tuesday night after I left Fort Bend Marshall. Tree landed on my mother-in-law's house last night in Houston. I hope all our viewers in Houston did okay. I know there's a lot of property damage, but as long as there's no loss of life, it doesn't matter. All that stuff can be replaced. But yeah, it was an up and down week. I was down after my truck got stolen just because it's such a hassle. It's a truck. I can get a new truck anytime. Right. But then Justin gives me a call with a big pick me up. Justin had a good week this week. I think that's going to benefit our readers and viewers for the months to come for sure. So that was a pick me up. And then last night, worried about the mother-in-law, and then Dakorien Moore decommits. And obviously they're not exactly interchangeable, but it's been a fun week. But there's been Inside Texas readers and fans in general, they get impatient with Sark's recruiting style. They think the process is lagging just because they don't know all the details going on behind the scenes. But they really start to pick it up in April, and then they build up in May. We're seeing that, and then June is another thing. And then, like Justin just said, nobody's complaining about Sark's recruiting or his process in July. They're gonna kill it. This is going to be a very, very, very good class, and then they're going to have a good season. So just enjoy the ride.
And that ride starts and ends at Inside Texas. You got to come see us. You got to come hang out with us. It is the community. We're growing at such a great rate, and we have such good members. Please like this video and subscribe to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. We put out stuff every day, and this thing is growing fast as well. We absolutely love doing it, and we're so thankful for the viewers and the fans that watch and comment and coming up and talk to us when we're at spring games. It's so random when we bump into people that actually recognize our ugly mugs these days, but that's the price of fame. But we're so thankful for that. We really are. We appreciate all those family and friends. And then also come to InsideTexas.com. We got a promo right now. IT1 gets you 2 months of premium access for just $1. Give us a chance to earn your business. Come see us for that 2 months. Come hang out with us in May while craziness happens. And then come hang out with us for June when the official visit season happens. And that is one of the busiest months of the year for Eric and Coach Williams and Joe Cook and I when we're on the beat. And so come see us there at InsideTexas.com. Thank you again for making us a part of your day. And thank you for joining us on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.